Welcome to our last unit, our last lesson on proportional relationships, which is lesson 9, page 10. And this will just be our last lesson for right now. We will probably come back to this topic later on. So you're going to notice that this reads proportional relationships are blank and pass through the blank. And we want to clarify this, and if you would please write when graphing proportional relationships are linear, which means they make a straight line, and they pass through the origin. And if you recall, the origin is 0, 0. That's where the graphing begins. So this is a continuation of yesterday's lesson on proportionality and graphs. So it says, read through the scenario below, then complete the table, graph the ordered pairs, and write an equation. Use the information to answer the questions below. So the good news is this starts out very much like our last lesson did, very similar. They're going to give us a situation which says concert tickets go on sale for $34 each. So when we hear that word each, that implies for each one. So even though they didn't say the word one, we're talking about one ticket. And so the number of tickets sold would be 1. And then you're going to notice this word total revenue. Now this word revenue means how much money a company earns, or the income. So usually when you hear the word revenue, they're talking about a company or an organization. So the concert tickets go on sale for $34 each. So for one ticket sold, the company's going to make $34. Let me go back to the pen. So we're going to put $34 each. So based on what we learned yesterday, do you think you could come up with the K value? I'm noticing down below it says K value, just like we had in the lesson yesterday, and they want us to write an equation. Do you think you know what it is? Well, if you said 34, you're correct. We always take our Y value, in this case it's the total revenue, over our X value. We're taking 34 divided by 1, and our K value ends up being 34. And now from that we can write our equation, which is Y equals 34X. But we're probably going to want to use it in this table, since it's X then Y, as 34X equals Y. So let's choose some easy X values. Since the table is wide open, we can go ahead and choose, again, consecutive numbers. That means numbers in order. And like we did last time, we're going to use our K value. We're going to take 34 times 2, and that's going to give us our new Y value of 68. 34 times 3 is going to give us our new Y value of 102, and I'd like you to stop and pause the video and complete the table yourself. All right, would you check and make sure that your Y values are the same? And to recall what we did yesterday, to write an ordered pair, we need to have a parentheses. Our X value is 1, and its corresponding or matching Y value is 34. And so we continue that pattern, starting with each X value and its matching or corresponding, we start with our X value and its corresponding Y value. So if you pause the video again and complete those ordered pairs. All right, please check the ordered pairs and see if you agree. And to continue making the graph now, we want to go back and look at what our X values were talking about. And they were talking about the number of tickets sold. And again, it's small, but this is our X, the horizontal movement. And our Y is talking about the total revenue. So we're going to write total revenue. And so now and by the way, this is our Y value. So we're going to use the numbers we see for the X. So here we would start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and you can go ahead and continue this pattern. Wish this was a little bit bigger. Hard to write that small. And now, once again, these numbers were easy to see. Each grid mark went up by 1. But if you notice, as we look at our table, each time we go up, we're increasing by 34. So this is constant. After all, it is a constant of proportionality. So since we have a consistent increase, each one of these grid marks we can represent using an increment of 34. For instance, this would be 0, 34. I'm going to go up another 34 to get 68. And as long as each one of these grid marks is just adding an additional 34, that keeps the scale consistent and the same. So for our purposes, I'm going to stop here, and then we're going to graph an ordered pair for each one of those. So my first ordered pair is 1, so I'm going to go right 1 for the X value and up 34 for the Y value. The second ordered pair is 2, 68, so I'm going to go over to the right 2 and up 68. And I'm going to continue that for all of the ordered pairs. Once again, our numbers stopped after 7 and 238, but you should notice that all of these, once again, are linear, which means make a straight line. That pattern continues even though we don't have points for the other part. And it started or passes through the origin, which is 0, 0. So now let's look at the questions, the follow-up questions they want us to answer based on this given information. Question number 1 says, if the venue needs to sell 86 tickets to break even, then how much money have they invested in the concert? So let's go ahead and first talk about this word venue. Okay, when you see venue, that's referring to a place that, for instance, that's the place that the concert is going to happen. So they call that the venue. It might be a hall, it might be a park, it might be a stadium. So wherever this is going to happen, that's what's known as the venue. They mention then 86 tickets. So our X value is the tickets, and then how much money. The revenue means how much money they're going to bring in, or their income. And so we have a handy dandy little equation that's going to help us out. We're going to use y equals 34x, or we could use 34x equals y. I'm going to go ahead right now and keep it in this form. Let me go back and get a better marker, a better pencil. So this time I'm going to use it in this form. Even though when we built the table, we used it 34x equals y. Here's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to figure out what y is. That means how much money was made. And what we know is our k value is 34, and they also told us the x value, which happens to be 86 tickets. So we're going to multiply these two, and we're going to know what y is. So pause for a minute and do that, please. All right, and the other thing I should have explained when we were looking at number 1 is that word break even means that in order to meet all of the expenses that the venue is going to incur. For instance, they're probably going to have to hire people to take the tickets at the gate, and they're going to have to hire security, etc. So they're going to have to pay out this money just to have this concert. So they have to sell 86 tickets in order to cover all of their expenses. So the amount we're looking for, how much money, was $2,924 to break even or to meet their expenses for the concert. Next, 2, the venue has a maximum capacity of 200 people. If it sells out, meaning 200 people, 200 tickets, how much revenue will the concert earn? So let's go back to our equation. Y equals 34x. Let's highlight what we've been given and figure out what we know. So this time, they tell us the number of people, okay? And that would mean then, if each person needs a ticket, then that would be 200 tickets, even though they mentioned it as people. They're still asking us how much revenue, how much will it earn, so we're still finding the y. So we're going to write y equals 34, and if there's 200 people, that would mean 200 tickets. So pause the video and find that out, please. So if you have this answer, you're correct. So this is how much, if they sold all the tickets, 200 people, 200 tickets, they would make $6,800. Number 3, describe how you know this is a proportional relationship. Well, there's 2 ways we can tell, and frankly, the graph is usually a little bit easier. We can just look at it, and we can see, we know from the graph that it's linear, makes a straight line, and it passes through 0, 0. Which is the origin. Now we can also tell because the table and the equation have a constant of proportionality, otherwise known as the K value, and that is 34. Question 4, what does the ordered pair 0, 0 represent in this situation? That's important. When they say in this situation, they want us to relate back to what our x values mean and our y values mean. Well, 0, if we're talking about the x values, refer to the tickets sold. So that means that there's 0 tickets sold. And if the y value is also 0, that means $0 earned. And finally, what does the ordered pair 6, 204 represent in this situation? Once again, they mention in this situation. So we're going to relate it back to what we know about the information on the x and y. So as we look at this, our x value is 6 and our y value is 204. And again, the x is talking about the tickets sold. So we have 6 tickets sold. It should be an S. And then $204. $204 in revenue, or in earnings. So that's what that ordered pair represents. Thank you for your time. Hopefully we'll have time to come back to this unit on proportional relationships, but for this session we are now done with this unit. Thank you for your time.